You call yourself a man? You know you're a lying, low-life, motherfucking gambling degenerate prick. You know that's what you are?
Well, hello, you degenerate fucks, and welcome to the Degenerate Gambler. It's Wednesday, the 19th of April. Got myself back and able to record on Wednesday, so this will come out later today. Um, because I'm back from holiday and stuff, I've been able to do stats and stuff for this week. So I'll have a look at last week's bets, which were shite, and I'll give some stats, and then I'll have one bet for this week. It's getting to the point in the season. I'm finding it hard to pick bets. A lot of teams at the top are limping over the lane, the likes of Burnley and Sheffield Wednesday. And then there's teams at the bottom of the leagues that are going on good runs to get themselves out. So I know I've said this before, but it's getting definitely more difficult to pick bets. Even though when I look at this, the stats for this week are interesting. I'll obviously get that in a minute, but yeah, there actually was a good number of favourites won, but I'll get to the reason why that isn't all it seems in a minute. So I'll just quickly run through the bets. Look, Chelmsford won, Napoli drew, and I've said this on Twitter and I'll say it again that they're not the same team when Victor Osimhen's not playing. He missed 4 games. They only won one. They drew one and they lost 2, and then they lost again the other night in his first start back in the Champions League. So they're another team limping over the line to win the league. I had Sheffield Wednesday, same story. Burnley, same story. Inter Milan are just in bad form. They drew 1 each, I think. So look, it was pretty poor. The other bet that I did was a bit of a crazy one. I'll probably do another one of those this week, although I haven't picked it yet. I did Spurs and over 2. They were beat 3-2. I did Newcastle both to score. They were beat, was it 2-1 or 3-2? And then I had Palace. Palace at 17-10 was a great pick. I did say that, I did fancy them since Roy Hodgson's winning. He's done a good job. The evening bet, it's City plus over a certain amount of cards was beat. PSG and over 2, that was up. Madrid was up, and then I had Inter again. I used Inter again, and they were beat. Sunday I had 8 over 1.5s. I think I had 5 up. Sunday's bet was a bit frustrating. I had Arsenal over 1.5, which was up even though they drew because of early payout. United over 1.5 was up. Leverkusen drew 0 each. And I had Salzburg both to score. And what was annoying in that game was that LASK or Lask or whatever the fuck how you pronounce it went 1-0 up and it was disallowed. And that could have changed that game. If they're 1-0 up, then Salzburg have to push, try and get an equaliser. But 0 each wasn't such a bad result for Salzburg because they're so far ahead in the league. So that was Sunday. What I did have was 2 boosts. I did the boost on William Hill, which was even money for shot and target for Jesus. Jesus. That was up. And then the other one was Arsenal to win. And Jesus to have a shot and target, which was, I think, 6-4. I had a tenner on that too. So it was 45 quid back. It's really only 25 quid profit, but it still helps when you're not winning. So yeah, that was last week. Looking at the stats, so I'll run through these quickly. So in the Premier League, it was 10 games. All the rest of the leagues, from Championship down to the National League South, was 12 games. 5 favourites in the Premier League, 1 draw, 4 outsiders. Championship, 8 favourites, 2 draws, 2 outsiders. League 1, 3 favourites, 3 draws, 3 outsiders. What did I say? League 1 was that? 3 draws, 3 favourites, 3 draws, 6 outsiders. League 2, 4 favourites, 5 draws, 3 outsiders. In the National League, there was actually 9 favourites, 1, 2 draws, 1 outsider. In the National League North, there was 6 favourites, 3 draws, 3 outsiders. And in the National League South, out of 12 games, 10 favourites, 1, and 1 draw, 1 outsider. So looking at that, it was 45 favourites, 17 draws, 20 outsiders, and that was out of 82 games. So 45 obviously is over 50%. It was 54%. So that is probably as high as it's been in a while. But as I was saying there, it is somewhat misleading because Out of those, what do we have there? 7 leagues. Only 3 of them, four of them were 50% or more, and 3 of them weren't. But Premier League was exactly 50%, 5 favourites out of 10 games. Championship was over 8 favourites out of 12 games. National League 9 out of 12, National League North 6, and National League South 10. But realistically, there, if you're choosing a game in League One or League Two, only 3 favourites out of 12, so that's 1 in 4 games that the favourite didn't win. And the League Two, it was 1 in 3. Do you know what I mean? So it was more, you're not going to pick 4 or 5 teams out of the National League South. It's just something you're not going to do. So those stats are slightly misleading in that it looks like a lot of favourites won, which, they did, but it was only in selective leagues. And I mean, the Championship having 8, I mean, that's rare. That very rarely happens. We all know the Championship is a league where anybody can beat anybody. So even though it was 54%, to me, it was still tough a bit because, League One, League Two, most people are going to pick 1 or 2 teams out of those leagues, and you basically got a 1 in 3 or a 1 in 4 chance that the favourite's going to win. So, misleading, but the favourites were there. There probably was a bet there somewhere if you kept it lower league. On the overs, which I'm still doing. I'm still looking at the overs. I'm still looking at the stats, even though I haven't been doing the bet because it is one of my favourite bets. It's a bet I've genuinely always been pretty good at, but just not coming off for me at the minute. But I'm still looking at the stats and possibly going to place a bet or 2 before the end of the season on the overs. And looking at this week's stats, they're actually quite good. It's the best it's been for a while too. And it was actually, I'll tell you now, it was 54%. It was exactly the same. 45 games were over 2.5. So I'll run through them again. Premier League 10 games, all the other leagues 12, which was 82 games. 7 over in the Premier League, 3 not. 5 over, 7 not in the Championship. League 1, 6 and 6. League 2, 4 over, 8 not. National League, 8 over, 4 not. National League North, 7 over, 5 not. National League South, 8 over, 4 not. So with that one, you've only got one league there, which was League Two, which is a shit league for goals anyway, that was under 50% of the games were over. Premier League was over 50%. Championship too, sorry, Championship was 5, but that's close. That's 45, 47, whatever it be, percent, 5 out of 12. But a more consistent number there of games over in the league. A 7, a 6, an 8, a 7, and 8. That's decent. Do you know what I mean? So that looks like if you'd maybe done an overs bet at the weekend, you'd have had a good chance. But anyway, that's the stats. I'll get on to my bet. I'll run through it quickly and I'll come back for the reasons. So, first team, Bradford at home to Gillingham. They're 4-5, which is 1.8 in decimal. Northampton at home to Harrogate, 7-10, that's 1.7 in decimal. Oxford City, home to Havant and Waterlooville, 4-5, that's 1.8 in decimal. Lazio, home to Torino, 5-6, that's 1.83 in decimal. And Dortmund at home to Frankfurt, they're 13-20, that's 1.65. In total, that bet comes to about 15-1. Pretty decent. All games are early paid because there's no lower leagues in there. So let's look at it. Right, Bradford. Currently, Bradford sitting 6th. They are only 2 points inside the playoffs, so they need to keep winning. They can't down tools yet. Gillingham, who were looking like they were getting relegated a few months ago, have got themselves to the point where they're safe, so don't have a lot to play for. Form. Bradford second with 10 points, Gillingham down in 11th, but decent for a team that were nearly being relegated recently. In the home form, Bradford 3 wins and 2 draws in the last 5, including winning their last 2 at home. Gillingham, on the other hand, 3 losses in a row away, and that was preceded by 2 draws. So even though they've been on a decent run, their away form hasn't been great in that time. Next is Northampton at home to Harrogate. Northampton, they're not in brilliant form. They're sitting second in the table, but this is another league where Leyton Orient haven't been in great form. They're top. Stevenage were second. They haven't been in great form. Teams seem to be just falling away a wee bit in League Two. But as I say, currently they're sitting second. Northampton, Harrogate away down in 21st. Not safe, but they're 6 points ahead of Hartlepool, who are on 39 points. They're on 45. So there's 3 games left. They're technically catchable, but I'm just looking at this more the fact that it's top v bottom. But anyway, on form, they're roughly the same. So this is a tight game. Northampton 8 points and Harrogate 7. But when you look at the recent form at home, Northampton 4 wins and 1 draw in the last 5. The game that drew was against Stevenage, who were above them, I think, at the time. So pretty solid home form there. And looking at Harrogate's away form, 2 draws in the last 2. One of those being against against Leyton Orient. But as I said, Leyton Orient haven't been great recently. Before that, they have a win, defeat. So in the last 5, 2 draws, 2 defeats, and 1 win. So not great. Next, I say move into the National League South. That's Oxford City, who are currently 3rd. Havant and Waterlooville are 9th. Still have a chance of the playoffs. Oxford City don't have a chance of the league. Ebbsfleet's on 100 points, but obviously the way those playoffs work in the National League South and North is 2nd and 3rd go straight into the semi-finals. So they're actually level on points with Chelmsford. So they need to keep winning. Otherwise they'll have to play a semi-final. So a lot to play for there. Currently they're sitting 4th in the table with 10 points in the form table, and Havant Waterlooville way down at 23rd with only 3 points. Recent home form, they've won 3 in a row at home. They drew the game before that, lost the game before that. So 3 wins on the spin. Havant Waterlooville have no wins, 2 draws, and 3 defeats in the last 5 games away from home. Next, I move to Italy and Lazio. As I said, Lazio currently 2nd. Again, I think a few weeks ago, Lazio were 3rd or 4th in the league. But with AC Milan and Inter Milan's poor form, obviously Juventus got docked points and all that. But with their poor form, they've managed to get themselves up into 2nd. They are 14 points behind Napoli. And currently top in form altogether. Torino way down at 16th in form. Only 5 points. At home, Lazio, so they have 4 wins and a defeat in the last 5. What I would say is that defeat was in the Europa against Alkmaar, but in the last 2 home games they beat Roma and Juventus, which are 2 obviously big games. One of those being a derby. And away from home, Torino only 1 win, which was against Lecce, 1 draw and 3 defeats. So hopefully again home form should play a part there. Lastly, then Dortmund. Dortmund 2nd in the league. They're actually only 2 points behind Bayern. And Frankfurt is currently sitting 7th on 42 points. In recent form, Dortmund only 8 points, not great. But Frankfurt away down at 15th with only 3 points. Recent home form, Dortmund, they've won their last 5 in a row. They've actually won 9 in a row at home. So let's hope the streak isn't broken this week and they can get that 10th win at home. Away from home, Frankfurt, 4 defeats and 1 draw. So pretty poor away form. So yeah, just hoping Dortmund can do the business there and get that 10th win. And that's the main bet. That is the bet. I say I probably will do, I might do a couple of bets. I don't know. I will be doing sort of a random selection bet of whatever I fancy on the day. And I probably will do, I might do it overs. I don't know. Looking at those stats from last week, I'll have a look at the games and I'll see how I feel. But I was looking a wee bit there and nothing jumped out at me. So I wasn't going to rush into it given that the overs haven't been great. Looking at next week, there's a full Premier League fixture list, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Tuesday night, there's 3 Premier League games. There's a game in the Championship, 5 in League 1, 4 in League 2, 3 in the National League, 1 in the National League North, and 6 in the National League South. There's also a full fixture list in La Liga next week. So there's 3 games on Tuesday. On Wednesday, 4 Premier League games, 1 Championship, 1 National League North, Coppa Italia, and 4 La Liga. And Thursday, 3 Premier League, 1 Championship, uh, 1 National League South, 3 La Liga, 1 Coppa Italia. Now, on those nights, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there is like a smattering of other games in like the Swiss Super League and Eredivisie and some of the sort of B leagues in Europe. So there's definitely enough for some betting there. And we are getting to the business end of the season. The end of the season, there's only I think 6 weeks left until the Premier League finishes. Um, so drawing to a close the end of the season. At the minute, I'm looking hopefully try if I could get like at least one more bet up this month. I'll finish on a plus for April, and then with one maybe two bets up in May, and at the end of the day I'm going to be in profit anyway. I'm 1,400 up at the minute, but if you know if I could at least break even this month, because this month has been a lot of expenditure because of entry and stuff. And not much has came back in. I think I've had one bet and a couple of small, wee stupid ones, like the ones at the weekend there. So I could get one more bet up this week, maybe next week at the latest, and then, you know, have a decent May. I could be looking at 1,500, 1,600, maybe more in profit. I think last year's was 1,800. I don't think I'll hit that, but it is what it is. I'm going to be profitable, but I have had a few long streaks there at the start of 2023 that haven't been great. So that's basically it. Just looking to finish the season half decent and be in profit. So that just leaves me to say, if you are doing a bet, good luck and happy punting.
Here, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, thanks. Let me find out you fucked up. I'll leave you wherever I find you.